Hey, everybody, welcome back to We're Not Dead Yet. This is episode 8. I'm your host, Curt Schilling, co-host Brian Youse. What's up, B?
Hey, how's it going? I'm well rested since I didn't get to go to ASLOC, so
Yep.
anxious to do it.
Yeah. Uh, Speaking of, I just got back. Was at ASLOC for about a week. Want to start off by congratulating John Garlic, who defeated Michael Hesterplaith in the championship match to win the 39th ASLOC tournament. And once again, I think there was a little bit more of a European presence here than there was at WBC, which is kind of nice. But you had Michael Hastrup, you had Chad Cummings, John Garlic, Steve Pleva, in coming down to the final 6 to 8 guys, Dave Lamb,
Mike McGrath.
Michael. And by the way, Michael beat Fortenberry, then Cummings, to get to the final one. So he had a tough road to plow. Pleva beat Cirillo in round 2, then lost to Garlic. Garlic beat Paul Schaefer, Tom Kearney, then Pleva, then Michael. So the final 6 was Garlic, Michael Hestrup, Dave Lamb at 3rd, Chad Cummings 4, Pleva 5, Rodney Callan 6. And I do want to shout out. So there was an odd number of players getting into the quarterfinals. So we needed a player. And kudos again. Brett ran a great tournament. It was a really good week, but Dave had no opponent because they didn't. So they asked for a stand-in to play, and Mike McGrath offered to stand in and did. And unfortunately, Dave's ASLOC championship aspirations flew by the wayside. But a lot of
Poor
minis.
Dave.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've been sitting here chuckling. It's literally like, you're missing a player on your league softball team and Barry Bonds happens to be walking down the street.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate. And Dave is like the nicest guy in the world.
Yep.
I've known him for a long, long time. And you just ran into a buzzsaw by mistake.
And
Uh,
I'm going to begrudgingly say this because I hate the fact that it's the case, but the world beat the crap out of the U.S. again, 20-7. Coincidentally, the United States MVP was John Garlic, and the European MVP was Michael Hasselblad. But that's like frickin' 25 out of 26 now for the Europeans. Very right cupperish, and it's disgusting.
Well, wait a minute. Think about it. Only the best European players are going to spend money to come over here and play.
That was what I was
Whereas
gonna say. So no, because
there's a bunch of Ohio guys.
I was dogging on McGrath because he didn't play. I'm like, why would you represent your country, you bastard? He goes, well, the problem isn't representing the country. It's that there's generally only 5 or 6 Europeans that come over. They're all some of the best players in the world, and they kind of already have their matches lined up for the week because everybody's wants a game. So it's hard to get a game with them. But they steamrolled them 20-7. And then what's happened with ASLOC for anybody that hasn't gone yet or hasn't gone in a while is Brett has made it Wednesday and Thursday. He runs a ton of minis, mini tournaments with themes. And I know one was Bill Cirillo did a Jepshine mini for him and Sean's upcoming. But I wanted to run through, and you'll recognize some of the names. The Mark Nixon, Wednesday is Mark Nixon mini champions. Thursday was Action Burke theme champion. So on Wednesday, Godzilla King of the Monsters, J.R. Tracy. SS as in Social Security went to Dave Gennard. From Russia with Love went to Philippe Brau. Land War in Asia, Doug Bush. Flame On, sponsored by Zippo, went to Kevin Killeen. A Gorgor Heretical Variant, Andy Hershey. From Russia with Love, number 3, Steve Pleva. Then on Thursday night, Randy Rossi, Deluxe Tom Kearney, Tin Can and Pop Guns, Philippe Rao again, Valhalla Calling, Gary Fortenberry, Summer of 43, Michael Hasselblad, Journalistic Integrity, which was the journal stuff, Bill Cirillo, Rumble in the Rubble with Steve Pleva, and Tin Cans and Pop Guns 2 was Rodney Callan. So, um, but again, congratulations to John Garlic. Now, I don't know John. Everybody speaks very, very highly. Said he's a big boy from Texas. And I'm sure I'd recognize him, but I don't know him. But apparently he started coming, Brett told me about 5 or 6 years ago, and he gets there on Saturday, and every year he's played between 25 and 30 games every single ASLOC. He just sets up on Saturday and plays. And Brett's like, I just go to him as he's cleaning up pieces from another board, and he's like, "I'm ready, give me an opponent." And so, and there were quite a few guys like that this year, guys who got there on the weekend before and did nothing but sit and play, which is awesome. About 135-ish this year, Brian. Mark Nixon made an appearance, which was really, really cool. I actually met Bill Fish Connor's brother, who came to the tournament. Apparently is a big Curt Schilling baseball fan, to get a couple things signed. So I got to meet him and talk to him a little bit for a few minutes, which was kind of cool. Um, but it was a great week. It really was. Personally, I took I just took Karkov maps and the geos for Karkov since we're playtesting that. Um, and I played Jim Bishop first in a scenario, had a great time, good scenario, and then I played Guy Cheney in a scenario. Then Guy and I ended up playing the Karkov campaign game, which was a lot of fun. And I had a chance actually. I've known Guy for a long time, but I don't really know Guy all that well. But I got a chance to really get to know Guy a lot better, and one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Uh, and really pissed about the fact that I was rolling. So I have a method by which I roll my sniper dice, and it works often. And in our last day of the campaign game, I rolled 11 1 snipers out of 14 rolls, and the other three I rolled 2 2s and then like 1 6. So what I do is I drop the dice in and I point and I go, "Oh, here comes a red one," and it literally happened 11 times. And there was a physical thing that almost happened, I think, at some point, because then he tried to start doing it. He couldn't figure out the finger angle and he screwed it all up. But we got a lot of Karkov playing, which was great. And then 3 products. For those of you guys tuning in on Monday, go to the MMP website if you haven't already. Action Pack 20, which was the Pete Schilling ASLOC Action Pack, came out. Action Pack 21, which is Blitzkrieg to the Reich, Gary Fortenberry, came out.
Blitzkrieg to Paris.
Blitzkrieg to Paris. What did I say? Blitzkrieg to the Reich? Yeah, that's the other
Yeah.
way.
Well,
And
Schilling,
then
we
Journal
get it.
16. Journal 16 with Don Petros's Carpet Cat Airfield. I think, what do we have, 17 scenarios or something like that, 40 pages. A lot of World Championship rehashing, articles from McGrath, Jim Bishop, a lot of good stuff. Meaty product. Those are up and available now on our website.
Now, I noticed
Um,
that there was a comment made on Facebook today being Sunday, October 12th. I see Kansas City's beating Detroit, if you need a better time frame, saying that these weren't put on pre-order. So is this a change of policy? It's not. Sometimes when we have a hard deadline and we want to have a product come out at a certain time, we will just go ahead, not pre-order the product, bite the bullet, and get it out. That's what happened in this case. As we print overseas and prices get more reasonable, this may happen more often. But right now, it's not like we've abandoned pre-ordering. It's just a one-time thing to get these products out at ASLOC. The last month has been insane for our proofers,
yeah,
for our playtesters, the guys that lay out. I mean, the women at the office. It's just been bananas. But we did deliver all 3 products to ASLOC, just like we said we.
yeah. I'm really, really proud of the team. Got Scott and Chaz behind the scenes, and Vicky and everybody at the office. We actually ended up overnighting AP21, got there and was sold at ASLOC, and I'm obviously biased, but I think all 3 products are kick ass. And I was caught, and Brian, you and I were talking, and I said this. There were a couple people were saying, I read that you were trying to do this, but I called bullshit. I said there's no way they're going to do it, and you guys did it. And I think, we're a business. We're going to evolve, and we're going to do things, and we're going to do things that are I would argue that we have a tie for our priorities. Our priorities are customer satisfaction and what's best for the business. There's no reason those things are not mutually exclusive. And um, I think one of the things that I realized after this, and I'm sure you guys can comment if you want, but um, we're looking at potentially, and I'm a huge proponent of product having physical stuff. But we're looking at putting products out in shrink wrap as opposed to boxing because in many ways, and we've talked about this, everybody has the counters, and rehashing and redoing counters and the expense that it adds. Certainly it's merited and warranted sometimes, but we're looking at an audience that does pre-own a lot of the things needed to play. So, and we've talked about Karkov coming out, probably not going to have counters. Andy Rogers made another. It's Hatton in Flames, almost exactly the same size map. It's winter, so it's white, but a lot of fun, short, very playable. Guy and I played it. Didn't get all the way to the end, but we played it in 3 days. Not 18-hour days either, legitimate days. And Brian, you and I have been play testing as well. And it's easily you can bite off a small part of it and play it however you want. Doesn't take up a lot of space. So
I think you
um,
could absolutely play that campaign game at a winter offensive. You show up and set up
right,
Thursday night, start playing. Friday, Saturday, you can plow through the days. It's not that big. It's certainly playable. There are a lot of choices for what you can purchase. But they're very. It's not like you can buy the same thing over again. Once you buy something, it's gone. It's used. So therefore, because each purchase is actually tied to a unit, so you get like a Panzer Grenadier company, and that's from the unit that it is, and that is
right,
that company. So you don't
right.
get to buy it again. It's once it's gone, it's gone.
And it's
Uh,
turn wise 6 5 5 5 6 turn first day. Next three scenarios are 5 turns, 5 turns, 5 turns. Um, and
there's
it plays fast. There's not a lot of almost nothing in the way of SSRs for the campaign
yeah,
game specific.
minimal
There's
rules overhead.
yeah,
I mean, it's I'm enjoying it. It's interesting. You have a lot of good troops on both sides and a lot of good leaders on both sides. If you want to segue now into a little discussion I wanted
yep,
to try out on a podcast to see if it would
yep,
work. I've sent an image to Garrick, which
yep.
hopefully he can post while Curt and I are talking about it. It's actively in Vassal at the moment. And what this is, the image I sent you is, and hopefully it's showing on the screen, is a section of the Karkov map. And we're talking in specifically about the N12 factory. You can see this factory. Unlike red barricades, there's not a lot of debris, not like collapse roofs and all that stuff. Shooting inside the factory is +1 per hex. It's a hindrance/tem. So, for example, if O11 wanted to shoot at O13, that would be a 4+2. It's very simple. This is pretty close to what I came up against. Curt was the Russians. I think he cheated to get that 9-2, but that's a blind roll. I just have to trust him. And I need to take this factory, and I'm running out of time. I basically have like 2 movement phases, and I was stumped. You can see I got a foothold briefly, a very tenuous foothold. Teen, the stack with the commissar can't shoot at my best stack because of the way the factory is depicted.
Hey, I just wanted to add, Brian, too, guys. All of the 628s are NKVD, and all of the German infantry is SS.
Yeah. There's a couple of specific infantry you should look for. The bottom 548 on O9 is actually an assault engineer, so his smoke exponent is 4. The 838 in Q12 is an assault engineer, so his smoke exponent is 5, which is insane. Um, and this is what I have. So I thought we would talk a little bit about this. How do you take this factory? You
Yep.
can't move
And
next to the 9-2 because he's just a buzzsaw. He's shooting
right.
40 down 1 at anybody that moves adjacent to him. and
And
you
that's
can
if you
spray
assault
fire.
move. I also let me just mention too, so you see the yellow circles and the white circles with numbers in them. The yellow circle is the location victory point value of that factory. The white circle is how many ground level locations of that factory you have to control to receive those 10 location victory points. There's 64 on the map. The Germans have to have 45 at the end of 4 days. And then you have to there's a chart for daily attack and defend. Germans are attacking days 1, 2, and 4. The Russians are counterattacking on day 3. But so the factory on the lower left is the big one. And the one that Brian's assaulting here is kind of in the middle of the Russian defensive line and kind of a linchpin for the Russian defense. The second the Germans take that factory, their ability to start moving through the map changes dramatically.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they can see the large factory off to the left, the K-14 factory. I can't remember where I cut the image that I sent to Garrick, but I'm
Yeah,
pretty
no,
sure.
it's right there. You can see
Okay.
K-14 says 10, that's 10 LVP. K-15 has the 22. You have to have 22 ground level locations of that factory, and there are 33, if I'm not mistaken, to get that 10 points at the end of the scenario and the end of the campaign game.
And there's some novel problems here when you're attacking. Well, I think they're novel anyways. The Q11 factory, the long thin one that goes north to south. I it, on our map we're going to call it north to south. I don't remember which
Yep,
direction north
yep,
actually is.
top to bottom.
Um, I could go down that factory probably pretty easily. The problem is if I get down to Q14, Q15 and break, all of a sudden I'm having route problems because of guys that are in the big factory I haven't taken. And
Right.
off to the right, there's some small buildings which I cut out because I just didn't have space.
And
But
rooftops are in play as well. And the Russians will have guys on the roof of the L11 factory, which will completely hose German routing sometimes on the side of the map Brian's talking about.
yeah, and suddenly you get stuck where you can't route with broken guys, and you just daggone an 838 with a 5 smoke exponent. You don't want to lose that to something
Right.
stupid. So you've got to be really careful how you progress as the Germans. But what I'm looking for, because we're getting ready to play the last day, and I'm facing this basically, is how do I take this factory? I mean, give me some suggestions. The 81 millimeter half track up there in N8 has a smoke exponent, I think, of 8. I can't
Yep.
recall. It's pretty good. The 75 star half track is a smoke making machine because I think with the fact that they're elite and SS. There might be an SSR that number goes up one. I can't remember, but I want to say that they're like an S10 if I remember correctly, and they might become like an S11. Let me show info. Yeah, they're S9 normally, so they're S10 at least. Uh, that thing can pump out a smoke round easily enough.
And
Um,
let's also mention because I think there's a point to be made from my observations as the Russian defender. Both you and Guy, and for those that don't know, these both you, Brian, and Guy are very elite level players. Um, the Germans have OBA. The draw piles in this are a little unique. They're a little different. Germans are 3-1, Russians are 3-2. Um, Reds go back in. You can't lose them. But Brian and Guy both have used the OBA after day one as a smoke machine, and moving smoke missions around the map because that's for the most part with the amount of Russian firepower, it's almost the only way to get a toehold in the factories is to move into smoke where you're under +4, looking out and all around you is +3. Um, but yeah, and then the might want to also mention too, the first appearance of the Tiger here in Karkov is in this Hazel on the Eastern Front, and they are every bit as daunting. Well, I still am arguing right now that the Russians, I don't think, have enough anti-armor. They're running T-34 M41s, the 76Ls of 13, APCRs of 14. They're having trouble killing the 3Ns or the 3Ls as well as the Stugs. And the Germans are running around with, and not a lot. I think it's 2 Tigers. They might have 4 total or
no,
whatever.
I think they only get 2 for
Um,
the whole game. I
they
mean,
right,
if you
but
buy them, you don't have to.
right, right,
But they are
so
definitely daunting, no doubt.
right.
But if you look at places you can put hidden guns, driving a Tiger around in this environment is a little scary because you never know when a
Right.
45L or even one of the artillery pieces is going to pop up and get a side shot. Now,
And
admittedly,
the, you,
a side shot is still a 14 off 8, but I
right.
mean, a 6 to kill is pretty sweet.
Well, but the Russians, and that's one thing the Russians do have a lot of. They have quite a few 45Ls and 76Ls, and I found myself against Guy trying to set the 45Ls to hit them in a place where I could get a side or rear shot when they first reveal themselves, because they're like the Germans are like moths to flames. When the gun comes up, they end up swarming it and massacring it. And you're not going to get a ton of. So you, with that 3 rate of fire on the 45, you're hoping to get APCR, but you're looking to get the side and rear shot. They're the danger that they're the biggest danger for the half tracks. And the 76Ls are the biggest danger for the Tigers. But again, it's all you're talking a 13 to kill off 8 on a whole hit. And they're it's hard. And there are no Molotovs. There's potential street fighting for the Russians, but the German player doesn't generally put his Tigers in a position to be street fought in this mode.
Well,
And
I mean, sure, sometimes that happens when somebody's a little too aggressive with their armor,
yeah,
like somebody I know. Um, but yeah, folks, take a look at this picture. We're gonna have Garrig post it. It's obviously up, and while we're talking about it, and we'll try and get it. Maybe I can get it posted on our website too. I'll talk to Scott
yeah.
about that, and
And
give me some
I
ideas. How do I do
I was just gonna
this?
say, Brian, these are all the assets you have. No OBA, nothing else off map. Everything we want to hear from you has to do with the units you can see on the map. No hip Russians, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Everything, the solution needs to be created with the units that you can see on the map, period.
And there's no true solution to this. There might be 20 solutions to this. I know that I've gotten a toehold in multiple hexes of this factory, and the buzzsaw that is the 9-2, the Death Star, whatever you wish to call it. I find myself praying he rolls 11 or 12 to break some machine guns, and maybe it'll only be I mean, I don't know what a 10 on the 36 table is. It's probably a 3 check or something. Maybe I get lucky there and roll a 5 and pin a guy. It's just the best I seem to be doing is hoping for bad results on the Russian die rolls.
Well, and the other thing too is the Germans, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you get a total of 2 flamethrowers for the CG.
Yeah.
And that they'll come back if you don't X them out. But and you, the first day you brought that thing on, and Guy was the same way. Germans are very hesitant to shoot that thing at long range just because they want to make sure they maximize the return. They want to get the biggest ROI you can for that flamethrower. Um,
Yeah, the
and
threat of the flamethrower is almost better than the application because you just can't. I mean, you only get two the entire four
right,
scenarios, and when you're in these factories, you've got to have some ability to hurt some Russians. Um, I'm curious. I hope it pans out. I'd like to use the podcast for this kind of thing occasionally. Where I want to hear what other people would do and just see what
right.
they could do.
Well,
Um,
and that's the beauty of it because you're going to get, I go back to what we were talking about at WBC when, and the foreshadowing ruined that final scenario when Chad Cummings threw his setup out there and we were like, it was so unconventional that it made almost like, what is he doing? And he ended up winning. And it was a defense that I never would have thought of in a million years.
right.
And that's what you see and that's what we're hoping for is to get a lot of really unique perspectives and also for the newer, younger players or guys that haven't played a lot, read these answers and see. You're going to learn rules. You're going to learn all the things about because if you're going to like the to me the biggest nut to crack in the Russian defense is the 9-2 with the 2.628 to the two mediums, because you can't get to them and shoot at them unless you're adjacent to me or you fire the 9-1 with the 8, and that's still up 2 on and uh so yeah, just curious to see how people approach that.
I mean, is prep fire in the 9-1 the best option? or maybe he should plan on moving in smoke and something. I'm curious. I'll tell you what, we're going to sweeten the pot. This is not our normal challenge or anything, but the best articulated how would you do this that is sent to podcast at mmpgamers.com will get a free copy of Karkov when it comes out. So there, now it's almost like homework, but it's the best kind of homework. It's fun,
Yeah,
and with
yeah.
a sweet prize at the end.
There's an
Um,
enormous amount of variability in the answers, which is even
Well, yeah,
more
it's gonna
enjoyable.
be a judgment call between Perry, Curt, and I reading them. Throw Chaz in there, and which one of these do you think deserves to win?
Yeah,
But we'll give it a couple weeks or whatever. It's because it's not like Karkov's coming out tomorrow.
right.
Because the other three things just came out, and you guys have got to save some money. But
By the way, the hope is that Karkov, we'd like to publish it at Winter Offensive, but we're not going to be held to that. But I would say that's the window somewhere at Winter Offensive or within probably a month or two after.
I would think that's
Um,
reasonable. I mean, we're
yeah,
pretty close.
yeah,
All right, enough on that topic. Gary can drop the art or the image, and you can get back to our beautiful faces. Or my
yep.
beautiful face. While we're talking about the prize real quick, let me jump in before Curt has anything else. The answer to the last trivia question, January 15th, 1999, plus or minus a day, was when MMP began its relationship with Hasbro. It was also the first day of Winter Offensive that year, and it was also one of the very few Winter Offensives that wasn't held in Bowie at a far too small location. But, it all worked out in the end. We had a great time. We turned on the website and we started selling product. The winner was Gordon Todd. Gordon, I've already emailed you asking for his email address. You win a Journal 16, so don't buy one of those. Hopefully you haven't already, because a bunch of people already have, and we just turned it on today.
Yeah.
But Gordon got it right, nail on the head, correct date and everything. So there you go, Gordon. It's on its way. This week's trivia question, ASL related. Sorry guys, I know a bunch of our gamers fans bail off quick. I've got to figure out a solution to keep our gamers guys around. But this week's trivia: what happens to an SS squad in a 1945 scenario that rolls a 12 on a 2 morale check? You can send the answer to podcast at mmpgamers.com. Please put a subject that lets me differentiate between the Karkov question and the trivia question. That way I don't have to, read everything all at once. And we'll have a winner by next Sunday when we film our episode 9, because I believe this is episode 8, right, Curt?
Episode 8.
Awesome. Who'd have thunk it?
I am going to close the episode out with a little cool thing. I'm only showing this because Steve's already seen it, but I am all about going way overboard when it comes to doing things for ASL. So we had our first ever World Championship in which Steve Pleva beat Mike McGrath to win, and in addition to all the product stuff he got, uh, in the vein of my former career, I had a ring made for the world champions, and this is it. This is the face of it. It says ASL 2025 world champion on the top and bottom, ASL 1, kind of like Super Bowl 1. And then it has Steve Pleva's name on the side. It says ASL WC world champion. Inside it says Steve Pleva versus Mike McGrath. And then on the other side, it has the name of the scenario, the round, foreshadowing ruin, which was scenario 5. And then we will be presenting this to Steve at Winter Offensive 2026 as the first ever ASL World Champion. They did a phenomenal job on it. It looks like one of my World Series rings. It weighs the same as one of my World Series rings. So I'm very excited about that, to do that.
Something
Congrats.
just occurred to me.
Yep.
The final scenario for world championships always need to have titles that are very short.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because
Foreshadowing
we sure
Ruin
couldn't.
barely made it.
So we'll have to make sure we come up with short scenario titles for our last round.
So yeah, so that'll be, and then also wanted to mention, guys, we will have the third class of the Hall of Fame, the ASL Hall of Fame. will be this year. The first class was the kind of the founding fathers. Last year was gosh dang it, I can't remember who we did last year. But we'll come up with the names for it, and then this year we'll have our third class. I think there's a couple scenarios on the ledger. We were talking about last year. We may do it this year, putting them up on our website to let you guys vote on them, to see if there's a desire to do that. But that'll be at Winter Offensive 2026, which we still haven't nailed down the location, and we
Go,
will be doing that shortly.
going on a site visit tomorrow, Columbus Day, Monday, October 13th, to check out a hotel near BWI Airport. Hopefully that'll work for us. They seem very interested. The space seems close to what we have. The reality is the place recommended by John Slotwinski is undergoing a major rehab, the hotel. So it's just not available to us this year. My hope is next year it will be at a reasonable price. As soon as Curt gets Dolly to behave back there.
Yeah. All right.
So when, if that works out, then it would be near Frederick, Maryland. But we're going to try this place out most likely. Another solution is to have it at Bowie again and hire private security. I don't like that solution because I'm concerned about what private security means and does. I don't want a gunfight happening in the parking lot of Bowie. And, somehow I would be somehow responsible for that. I'm against that. So we're hoping, fingers crossed, that tomorrow works out. If so, we will be announcing it ASAP so people can start planning. This is late in the year. We apologize, but we hope to have this going as soon as we can. And we hope to see as many people as possible at Winter Offensive, where that beautiful ring is going to get given to Steve, and hopefully it's sized correctly and everything.
Absolutely, it is. All right, we'll catch you guys on the flip side. What was it? Info. What was the email?
Podcasts at
Podcast.
mmpgamersplural.com.
Right. All right.
Karkov solution or your best suggestions, trivia answer, and anything else you want to talk to us about. That's fine. You can send it to that email. I make sure it gets distributed to where it needs to go.
Guys, keep spreading the word. We will now be making sure that the podcast debuts Monday morning or Monday early each week on a consistent basis. So have a great week, guys. Bri, I'll see you on the flip side too.
All right, man. Take care. Go get some rest. I know ASLOC wore you out.